The Twin Towers were two very tall buildings in New York City. They were part of a group of buildings called the World Trade Center. Located in Lower Manhattan, they stood like two giant guards watching over the city. For many years they were the tallest buildings in the world. People from all over the globe came to see them. They were more than just office buildings, they were a landmark. Their official names were the North Tower and the South Tower. These structures were a testament to human ambition, reaching higher into the sky than most had ever thought possible, defining the famous New York City skyline for a generation. The idea for the World Trade Center came about in the 1960s. The Port Authority of New York and New Jersey wanted to revitalize Lower Manhattan. This area was once a bustling hub, but it had become quiet. The plan was to create a center for global trade and business. The architect chosen for this huge project was Minoru Yamasaki. He designed two massive rectangular towers that would be simple, yet powerful. His vision was to create a space that felt open and impressive. A modern plaza for a modern world, a beacon of international commerce that would draw people and businesses back to the city's historic heart. Construction began in 1966. Building the Twin Towers was an enormous and complex job. Workers had to clear a large area of old buildings first. Then they dug a massive foundation deep into the ground, creating what was called the bathtub to keep water from the nearby Hudson River out. This engineering feat was crucial for supporting the immense weight of the towers that were to come. It took thousands of workers to bring the project to life, each one contributing a piece to this monumental puzzle. The scale of the excavation and foundation work was unprecedented and set a new standard for skyscraper construction. After years of hard work, the North Tower was completed in 1972, and the South Tower followed in 1973. The construction process was a spectacle in itself, drawing crowds who watched as the towers grew floor by floor, climbing higher into the sky each day. The innovative design used a strong steel frame on the outside, which allowed for large, open office spaces inside without many columns. This tube-frame structure was revolutionary. When they were finished, the Twin Towers stood at over 1,360 feet tall, briefly holding the title of the world's tallest buildings and changing the face of skyscraper design forever. The Twin Towers quickly became a powerful symbol. They represented New York City's strength and its role as a global financial capital. Inside their 110 stories, thousands of people worked for companies from all around the world. These buildings were a daily destination for a massive workforce, a city within a city. They were a hub of activity, where deals were made and global markets were influenced. For New Yorkers, the towers were a constant presence on the horizon, a reference point that helped you know where you were in the big city. Their simple, geometric forms were unmistakable from miles away. More than just office space, the towers were a destination for everyone. The South Tower had an observation deck called Top of the World. From here, visitors could see a breathtaking view of the entire city and beyond. On a clear day, you could see for miles in every direction. The North Tower was home to a famous restaurant called Windows on the World. People went there for special occasions to dine while looking out at the sparkling city lights below. These attractions made the towers a place of joy and wonder, not just a place for business, welcoming millions of tourists who wanted to experience New York from its highest point. The Twin Towers were also a star in popular culture. They appeared in countless movies, television shows, postcards, and photographs. They were the backdrop for dramatic scenes and romantic moments, becoming as famous as the Empire State Building or the Statue of Liberty. When people thought of New York, they often pictured the iconic silhouette of the two towers standing side by side. They represented the ambition and dreams that drew people to the city. Their presence in media cemented their status as a global icon, a visual shorthand for the energy and opportunity that New York City promised to the world. Their symbolism extended beyond just economics and culture. They represented American resilience and engineering prowess. They were built to withstand strong winds and other natural forces, a marvel of modern construction. In 1993, the towers survived a bombing in their parking garage, and after repairs they reopened, standing as a symbol of defiance against acts of terror. This event only added to their story, showing that they were not just tall but also strong. They were a source of pride for the nation, a physical manifestation of innovation, and the unwavering spirit to build bigger and better than ever before. On the morning of September 11, 2001, the world changed forever. It was a clear, beautiful Tuesday in New York City. At 8:46 a.m., a hijacked airplane, American Airlines Flight 11, crashed into the North Tower. At first, many people on the ground were confused, thinking it might have been a terrible accident. Smoke and fire began pouring from the upper floors of the massive building. News channels started broadcasting live images of the wounded tower, and the world watched in shock and disbelief. The calm morning had been shattered by an unimaginable act of violence that no one could yet comprehend. Just 17 minutes later, at 9:03 a.m., the horror intensified. A second hijacked plane, United Airlines Flight 175, was seen flying low over the city. It banked sharply and crashed directly into the South Tower. At that moment, it became sickeningly clear that this was not an accident. This was a deliberate attack. The second impact created a huge, fiery explosion, and the images were broadcast to a horrified global audience. The sight of both towers burning, with thousands of people trapped inside, sent a wave of fear and sorrow across the nation and the world. The city, and indeed the world, held its breath. The intense fires from the jet fuel weakened the steel support structures of the towers. The buildings, which were designed to be so strong, could not withstand the extreme heat. At 9:59 a.m., after burning for 56 minutes, the South Tower collapsed. The massive structure crumbled down into a huge cloud of dust and debris that swept through the streets of Lower Manhattan. Then, at 10:28 a.m., the North Tower, which had been hit first, also collapsed. The iconic skyline of New York City was changed in an instant. The loss of these two giants was a visual and emotional blow that was felt by everyone watching. The attacks on September 11th were a terrible tragedy. Nearly 3,000 people lost their lives at the World Trade Center, including office workers, visitors, and hundreds of brave first responders, firefighters, police officers, and paramedics who rushed into the towers to save others. The day became known as 9/11, a date that is now synonymous with loss and heroism. The collapse of the Twin Towers was not just the destruction of buildings, it was an attack on the values of freedom and openness that they had come to represent. The world mourned with New York. In the years following the tragedy, the site of the former Twin Towers became known as Ground Zero. It was a place of deep sorrow and remembrance. For a long time, the focus was on recovery and cleanup, a difficult and emotional task. People from all over the world left flowers, photos, and messages of support at the site's edge. It was important for everyone that this sacred ground be treated with respect. A debate began about what should be done with the space. Many felt it should be a memorial to honor the victims, while others wanted to see the skyline rebuilt as a sign of resilience and hope. Today, the site has been transformed. In the exact footprints of the two towers are two beautiful reflecting pools. These are the central features of the 9/11 memorial. Water flows continuously down the sides of the pools into a central void, creating a calming and somber sound. Engraved in bronze panels around the edges of the pools are the names of every person who died in the 2001 attacks. It is a powerful and peaceful place where millions come to pay their respects, to remember the lives lost, and to reflect on the events of that day. It ensures that the victims will never be forgotten. Standing tall beside the memorial is a new skyscraper, One World Trade Center. Often called the Freedom Tower, it was completed in 2014. At a symbolic height of 1,776 feet, referencing the year of American independence, it is now the tallest building in the Western Hemisphere. The tower's gleaming glass design serves as a beacon of hope and perseverance. It reclaims the skyline, sending a message that New York City has healed and rebuilt. The tower, along with other new buildings and a museum at the site, has brought life and business back to Lower Manhattan, creating a vibrant new chapter for the area. The Twin Towers may no longer stand, but they are not forgotten. They live on in the memories of those who saw them, in countless photographs and films, and in the stories passed down to new generations. The story of their rise and fall is a significant part of modern history. The memorial and the new One World Trade Center stand together, representing a balance between remembering the past and looking toward the future. They remind us of the terrible loss, but also of the strength of the human spirit to honor, to heal, and to build again from the ashes.